And we're back, guys. This is it. We have the Rome final. Jasmine Paolini, a.k.a. Little Italy, a.k.a. Ciao Bella, taking on Coco Gauff, the future of tennis, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a good one. As always, my content is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Mac. We're going to start things off with Jasmine Paolini. She's the world's ranked 5th player. She's the 6th seed here. And listen, guys, we're going to take things back to last year. Last year, this time, Jasmine was 17-10. Coming off of her first Master 1000 title, I was so excited, so happy, because I've been talking about Jasmine for so long, and I'm just glad the world can now see what I saw in her for many, many years. She was 17-10, then she got hot, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, guys. At Dubai, we remember she took out Beatrice Haddad in the first round. And she took out long hair, don't care, Leylah Fernandez. She took out the Greek goddess. She beat Elena Rybakina on a walkover, but she was going to beat her anyway. And then she took out Sharana Karstea and then Anna Kalinskaya in that championship match, who had actually beat Coco prior to that. So biggest win of her career. She won the title. And then she would go on to the Porsche Grand Prix, where she would make the quarterfinal, where she took out her doubles partner, Sarah Irani. And she would take out Ons, and then she would actually lose to Elena Rybakina in the quarterfinal at the Porsche Grand Prix. 17-10, but the forehand improvement, right? That was very, very noticeable. And she would also, up to this point in Rome, she would win the doubles title with her partner, Sarah Irani. Fast forward to this year, ladies and gentlemen, much better year. She's getting better and better. Just took out Peyton Stearns. She's 21-8 on the year. Also, remember, she's the reigning and defending doubles champion with Sarah Irani here in Rome. And she's going to be playing for the opportunity to become champ, as they took out Mira Andreeva and Diana Snyder today. They're going to take on Veronika Kudermetova and Elisa Mertens. However, like I told you in Madrid, I do think that Mertens and Veronika will defeat Irani and Paolini again. So they're going to be the underdog. That duel, I'm not sure why they ever broke up. I know Veronika, look, I think she was being a little selfish. She went to play with Ludmila, which doesn't make sense to me, because Elisa Mertens is so sweet. And look, they're having fun. They're friends. They're cool. So I just think Mertens and Veronika is going to be too much for Jasmine and Irani. So that's my pick there. But what about the single side? Listen, if you factor in the doubles matches that Jasmine's played with Sarah and the singles, she's played 21 sets of tennis here, right? On the single side of things, she took out Lulu Sun, fool! She took out Ons, the best shot maker in the world, Big Mama Asta. And listen, guys, the three-setter with Diana Snyder, that was a tough match. But then she would make quick work of Peyton Stearns. Now, here she is in the championship. She's going to take on someone that owns a head-to-head against her. But Jasmine won the last match they played, and that was at the Porsche Grand Prix in Germany. Let's take a look at Coco, guys. Now, Coco Gauff, the future of tennis, is here. Now, I've made some videos telling you guys, look, don't worry. All she needs to do is get hot. She'll be better off than she was last year. Last year, this time, she was 25-8. That's right, 25-8. Right now, she's 24-7, guys. All it takes is a little bit of getting hot, and Coco Gauff is on a roll, ladies and gentlemen. The youngest player to make the Madrid and Rome championship match back-to-back. That's right, history in the making. While on the other side of the net, Jasmine's the last Italian player to make the Rome final here in over a decade, and an Italian player hasn't won this tournament in several decades. She's trying to make history on the single side of things. But last year around this time, Coco, she was playing good, but I think right now she's playing better. Coco Gauff, she started things off by winning Auckland, right? We remember that. Took out Svitolina. Tough match. Then she made the Australian Open semifinal, right? In Dubai, she made the quarterfinal before losing to Anna Kalinskaya. At the Indian Wells, she made the semifinal before losing to the Greek Goddess. And she made the Porsche Grand Prix quarterfinal before losing to Marta Cashew. In Madrid, she made the round of 16 before losing to Maddie Patty. And in Rome, she made the semifinal before losing to Iga. Look at all the competition she lost to last year. Iga, former number one. Madison Keys, she's been in the top 10 for nearly a decade. Marta, top 20 player. Zachary, been in the top 10 for so long. Anna Kalinskaya, top 20 player, right? Sabalenka, the world's number one. So Coco, and I talked about this last year, I'm just going to remind you guys, Coco's not an easy out, okay? The people that defeat her are the world's best, but look at all those matches. Sabalenka at the Australian Open, she was up 5-4, had 5-4, love 30, had a chance to serve the match out. Look, it happens, right? World's number one, very tough match. Anna Kalinskaya, 3 sets. The Greek Goddess, 3 sets. Marta, Coco had the match won, gave it away. Was up a break against the Greek Goddess. Was up a break against Anna Kalinskaya. Madison Keys was a tough match. Iga was a tough match. Coco's not an easy out. And in fact, we all know this. This is the consensus at this channel. If you beat Coco, you're going to lose the next match because you're probably going to be exhausted. Fast forward to this year. Jasmine played 21 sets here in Rome. Coco's played 19. She's played 7 sets with her doubles partner, Alexandra Ayala, one of my top teen prospects. And I'm glad that we can share these moments together. I thank you guys for all the love and support because I'm calling out these players that you need to watch out. And you're coming to the channel and we're sharing this journey together. We're seeing these players come out and have amazing games and matches. And they're taking their stardom to the next level. So thank you guys for supporting because all of the top teen prospects I've told you to watch out for, they've all done well. So thank you guys for joining me for this journey as well. So she's played 2 less sets than Jasmine, but she's been on the court for a little bit longer than Jasmine. Not much. I know she had that match against Kinwin that was a marathon, but she's only been on the court a little longer than Jasmine. Not much. I think as you guys talked about the ice bash and the recovery, Coco's going to be fine. We know that. But Coco's path here to the championship match, right? She took out Victoria Boko. By the way, check the community. She's taking on Mayor Shreve. In the, what is that? Is that France or Parma? I think it's Italy. She's taking on Mayor Shreve in a championship match. That's going to be good. And by the way, Vavara, who's now a resident of France, she's taking on Katie Bolter in the France final. That's going to be good. Get your popcorn for that. Magda Linette, straight sets. And she took out Emma Raducanu in straight sets, Mira Andreeva in straight sets, and Kim Won-jung in straight sets. Of the 2 brackets, I think Coco's had the tougher path here, right? Of course, Coco's, in my opinion, I think she's better than all the competition here, but she's had the tougher path. I think Emma Raducanu, very solid backhand. I think Mira's probably, I think Iga's fading. I think Mira's probably outside of Coco. Take away Coco from Mira's draw, Mira probably wins this tournament. Let's just be honest. Mira's one of the best clay players on tour right now. Right? Victoria, don't look at her ranking, guys. She's going to be in my top 10 prospects list. She's a contender right now, for sure. She's playing against Mayor Shreve for a title. I do think Mayor's going to win that title, though. I think Mayor Shreve's going to win that title. But nonetheless, Coco Gauff, guys, she's doing better than last year. She pulled it together, and the question is, who's going to win this match? Listen, guys, I don't think Coco's going to have an issue recovering against Kinwin. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, and look, I don't agree with this, okay? A lot of people are saying that Kinwin's game is comparable to Coco. And, Coco acknowledged there's some similarities, but look, I think she's just being nice. Kim Won-jung has never been known as a good defensive player. Let's just be honest. I've covered her for a long time, and she's improving under Rebus. I think that was a great pickup, great addition when she lost Wim. But the reality here is, guys, Kinwin's she's never been a good defender. She's working on her two-way play now, and you saw the additions that she added to be able to compete with Coco. But she's never been a good defender. Now, my personal opinion is she was able to compete with Coco because Coco gave her so many second serves. Coco gave her so many free points in service games. She gave her 3 free service games. But I think the addition of just covering no man's land, putting pressure on Coco so she can't get to her backhand, I think that's why she was able to compete. But fast forward to this matchup here. Yes, Jasmine won the last time they played at the Porsche Grand Prix, but she won it in straight sets. The first set she won 6-4. Coco was up 4-2 in the first set. And I covered the video. I said, look, Coco's dominating this match. If Jasmine's going to win this set or this match, go watch the video. I said, Jasmine needs to start taking risks. She's got to play faster. She can't beat Coco the way she's playing. What did she do? She recognized what I saw, because when I'm watching the match, I'm looking strategically on what the players can do to win or get better. But Jasmine needed to do that, and she did that. Coco had not been active. She didn't have her form, and it is what it is. Venus Williams said it best. Doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not playing tennis, a player that's ranked in their 100s could beat you, right? The ranking doesn't matter if you're not in form. It's as simple as that. That's why Coco lost that match, in my personal opinion. Now, 2 different courts. Porsche Grand Prix is an indoor clay court, completely different. That court is very slippery. This court here in Rome, it's much more stable for Coco to get her backhand, right? There's no elevation, not that high elevation like Madrid. I think Coco lost that championship to Sabalenka. Not only was she playing a lot of her matches during the day, she had to make the adjustments at night for that final, but she needed to slow down that last service game in the second set. She should have held and won. Sabalenka was completely gassed. Sabalenka was not covering the court. Coco, she had some faults. She served horribly, and it happened. Sabalenka won the match. If that match goes 3 sets, it's a different story. Coco wins that without a doubt if it goes 3 sets. However, these courts, they're a lot more stable for Coco's game. You see her defense looks amazing, and Jasmine's going to have to defend Coco's backhand, right? Jasmine's going to have to play deep ball tennis with Coco. She can come forward. She can play the short balls, which she's an amazing doubles player. But I do feel that's going to open up more opportunities for Coco to hit passing shots. So that's risky if you want to make it a short game. But that's not something Jasmine wants to do consistently with Coco, because Coco is the fastest player on tour. Jasmine's very fast and explosive, but she's not as fast as Coco, right? I have on my personal fastest players list, I have Coco, then I have Jasmine, then I have Leylah Fernandez, and then from there, I'm going to redo the list because we have a lot of young upcoming players that are completely just... Iga was on that list, and as you can see, Iga's not on my top fastest players list anymore because she's slowing down. She looks a lot slimmer. Mentally, she's not there. She's not covering defensively how she used to. I think that's another story for another day, but something's not right with Iga Swiatek. Last time out against Kimwin, the 16 double fault, abhorrent, ladies and gentlemen, just completely atrocious, right? She got 58% of her first serves in play. Coco won 60% of those and won 53% of her second serves. 17 opportunities to break. Jasmine Paolini, last time out against Peyton Stearns, only 1 double fault. 84% of her first serves in play. Jasmine's a pretty consistent server, and if you factor in how short she is, that's it's pretty good. You know, it reminds me of Ashley Barty being one of the best servers ever, but being pretty short. I think Barty was like 5'6", right? Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. How tall was Barty? Was she 5'6" or like 5'8"? I think Barty's like 5'6", but Barty was regarded, at least in my opinion, as one of the best servers ever because of her ball toss and her lift. She was able to get that ball over the net pretty clear and very accurately. Now, Jasmine, very consistent server. She doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. That's why she's always in every match, because she's not beating herself. However, she did lose 40% of her first serves, and she lost 50% of her second serves. I think Coco Gauff's a lot better player than Peyton Stearns, let's just be honest. Now, the match against Diana Snyder, which went 3 sets, again, very consistent on the serve. I don't even think she had a double fault in that match. But, again, she lost 44% of her first serves and 58% of her, actually, I think 68% of her second serves, right? She's going to have to win those first serves. If she gives Coco those looks, I don't think she's going to win the match. Now, Coco, before that match against Kimwin, she took out Mara Andreeva, where she won 75% of her first serves, which was about 80% for most of the match. But Mara won a couple games to end the second set, but Coco ended up, the final number was 73% win rate on her first serve. She won 60% of her second serves. Between the last couple matches, Coco has had over 25 break points on her opponents. She's putting the pressure on her opponents with her defense, and I think that's going to be the issue with Jasmine. I think Jasmine's best bet in this match, because if you watch the Porsche Grand Prix, she was playing into Coco's backhand, which wasn't working, and then she started to go to the forehand, and Coco was dueling it out just fine with her forehand. When Jasmine started to speed it up, coming to the net, then she started to get free points, and then she started to stretch the court, mix it up, and she kept Coco off balance. I don't think that's going to happen here. This court plays a lot more stable. This court, it's slower than the Porsche Grand Prix. So I'm not going to say it's a hard court. It's clearly not a hard court, but it's definitely a lot slower than the Porsche Grand Prix. That court is so slippery inside there. Plus the atmosphere. Now, mentioning the atmosphere, I do think the crowd is going to be on Jasmine's side. Now, I watched the doubles match between Alexandra and Coco, Sarah and Jasmine, and Coco and Alexandra had the chance to serve out the first set, but Coco got broken. That crowd was cheering very loud for Paolini and Irani. They were cheering very loud, but Coco and Ayala, they lost the first set. They came back, won the second set, and forced the third set tiebreak. Even though the crowd was so loud, they were still able to manage. And doubles is a lot faster pace. You have to focus a lot more, and you have to protect your side. So, and you have to be a little bit more disciplined, and you have to be your speed, reaction time, especially when you're playing the net, you have to be ready and focused. So I felt the crowd didn't affect Coco, but they were loud, and I was a little bit surprised. They were cheering for Coco when she did good things as well, but they were really loud for the Italians. That could be a factor, but I don't really think it's going to be. Not only is this going to be a morning match, and if it were nighttime, I think it would be a bigger issue, because it's just at nighttime, those echoes could make a bigger difference. During the morning, I don't think it's going to be a difference. Listen, guys, a lot of information I've given you, and Coco Gauff, in my personal opinion, I love Jasmine. I think she's a great player. But Coco's on another level than Jasmine. She just is. It's just as simple as that. Coco's on another level. Backhand-wise, serve, speed. I do think Jasmine's got good placement. She's not trying to blast you off the court. She's really just trying to get the ball in and set up her offense. Jasmine is very fast as well. I do know that. And the reality here is she is, 7 years older than Coco. That, I do think, overall, is going to make a difference. I think Coco's the stronger player. I think Coco has more power than Jasmine. And I just think she's going to play bully tennis here to where she just overpowers Jasmine. I've seen all of their matches. Coco got her first win against Jasmine when she was only, I want to say, 17 years old at the Adelaide. And she's got a lot stronger, a lot better than. And again, I think Coco's played the tougher competition. I think Kinwin's a good player. I think Kinwin, and it's tough to really compare styles when they're not facing each other, especially after they've been eliminated. But I think Kinwin versus Jasmine in this final, I think Kinwin would beat Jasmine. And I think the test that Kinwin gave Coco is a good prerequisite for Jasmine. I don't think Jasmine has those kind of weapons, especially on the serve, guys. Remember, Kinwin she's been one of the top acers on tour the last couple years. You know, she's been in the top 10, top 5 in aces. Her serve is very powerful. When you face tough opponents and then you make it to the next round and your opponent is in some cases not as good, right? Jasmine's amazing. But when you get it through a very tough battle and your next opponent is possibly doesn't have those tools or weapons, it's a sigh of relief. It's a relax, like, yes, I made it through that test. This is going to be a little bit easier of a match. You don't want to really think that mentally because you don't want to give any advantage to your opponent and let your guard down and be sloppy. But that's really going to be the case here. That match getting through Ken Win is going to be a sigh of relief for Coco. As long as she recovers fine and properly, I just think she's going to have too many tools for Jasmine, despite this crowd cheering for Jasmine. My pick is for Coco Gauff to win yet another Masters title, ladies and gentlemen. She's a number 2, and she's headed into the French Open. I'm going to pick Coco to also win the French Open. She's hot. This is going to be a problem, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking Coco to win Rome and the French Open. Tennis in a minute. Like the video, show some love. Comment below, guys. I want your feedback. Who wins and how? How can Jasmine win this title? I'll see you soon and enjoy the match.